What's going on, guys? D&T in the 773 back here with another video, here to discuss the Panthers and Bears game last Sunday, which, Danny, I'm so jealous that you got to be at the game, man.
Yes, for those that may have seen my social media, I was there. I was present. Me and Simone Biles were hanging out. And me and Derek Rose, right? It was a good time. It was a celebrity game. So
did you end up getting a suite?
I'm not going to suite. No. We got the cheapest tickets available, let's just say. No? Unfortunately, did not. I tried to make my way to the exit to find him, but as you may know, Derek Rose is quite fast, so he made it out of the building. Yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty incredible game. I was thankful to go. It was a very last-minute thing, and I will say it was probably the best Bears game I've ever attended.
Yeah, dude, it was I got to watch like pretty much bits and pieces of the game. I did end up having to work on Sunday, but I watched a little bit on my phone. But I'm telling you, I did watch all the highlights because I did see the score. I saw the big plays happen. I saw the huge, we'll get into it in a little bit. I saw the huge throw from Caleb to DJ Moore, 35-yard pass touchdown, right at where it needed to be. You sent me the video, which was absolutely awesome. I'm glad you got that. You caught that and you got to, which was awesome. It was absolutely amazing.
It was a good time, man. It was a good time. It definitely was a commanding win. It was, it just feels different watching this Bears team. I think every other game I've went to, it's felt very like it's anyone's game at any point, but at some point the Bears defense is gonna, function something. But this is different. This felt different. This felt like the team was in control every single quarter, every single drive. So I was just really impressed with that. It's just nonstop Bear down, Chicago Bears. It's just like every awesome, 5 minutes. Man.
Yeah,
it was cool. It was a good time.
It's always great when you get to go to a game and you get to experience that just over and over instead of not getting to hear that song whatsoever, even when it's a touchdown. So, dude, happy you got to go, man. I was so jealous of that, but I will be attending the game at the next Bears game at Soldier Field, which will be Bears New England Patriots. That's like the middle of November 10th. Super excited for that. Super excited to finally go back to Soldier Field. But yeah, let's get right into it, man. So obviously last Sunday, Bears had their third home game. I believe it was the third, right?
Yes,
third home game of the season. Bears Panthers at noon. Obviously, this was a big game for the Bears because Bears Panthers. We had that huge trade last year before the season, acquiring DJ Moore, lots of other picks. We ended up getting Darnell Wright with that pick, Tyreek Stevenson, a bunch of other key assets as well. And they only they wanted the number one pick last year, and they got Bryce Young. But we didn't get to see Bryce Young. Well, we did at the end of the game. We didn't get to see him start for the Panthers. But we didn't get to see him. Obviously, Andy Dalton was under center just because they had to change a quarterback at Realm. But, obviously, Dan, you could talk about this game a lot more than I can. Obviously, I watched a good amount of it on my phone when I was at work. But I know you obviously attended the game. You got to see all the plays. You got to see the defense be stellar once again. So you want to kick it off? You want to start over?
Of course. Don't mind if I do. So the Bears obviously took a commanding win here, 36-10 at home. The game started with a Chuba Hubbard touchdown in the first quarter. So the Bears went 3-0 and then gave it up to Chuba Hubbard for a 30-yard rush. So it was nearly 7-0 in the first quarter. And I will tell you that is the last time the Carolina Panthers looked any sort of good that entire game. The rest of the game, we just kept dominating. We kept scoring. We kept scoring on every single drive. The run game, the pass game, everything was flowing, was functioning. And that's, I think, the most exciting part. Takeaway from this game is that I think it was the first game that Shane Waldron called a complete game where there wasn't a single mistake. There weren't any mistakes on the team, no special team mistakes as well. It was incredible. So after we went down 7-0, the Bears scored a touchdown to even it at 7-7. And then after that, once it was tied, we put up 20 straight. So it was 27-7 at halftime, and you could easily tell that the Panthers were defeated at halftime. They had no answers. They had nobody catching balls. I think they completed like 6 passes in the first half, and so it was important. It was an important game for us because I was nervous. I was nervous by seeing where the Panthers, where they wanted to kind of go against us. If they were like, okay, let's just beat them down on the run game. Let's have Andy Dalton throw some really huge passes. No matter what, the Bears defense really did well, and the Bears offense played even better, I'd say. So Caleb, I think, he had his highest graded game, so far. So week 5, he's been going better. This one he cracked over, I think it was like 120. He got as a passer rating and everything like that. So it was
126, I believe that was his passer
rating. Something like that, yeah.
He had it, yeah. So, like we said, man, Yeah, like we said, man, like talking about, the last few weeks with the Bears, it's just all we're asking from, the Bears organization, asking from, Caleb as well, being a rookie quarterback, is just constantly improving every game. And that's what we're seeing from him every game. Week one, he had
Exactly.
the jitters. Week two was against the Texans, hard defense. We were in Houston, just not a good offensive game. But after that, this team is constantly improving, which is all we can ask for as, as a Chicago fan and obviously as a Bears fan as well.
Exactly.
Caleb
Exactly.
Caleb already 5 weeks in has more 300 passing yard games than Justin Fields did in his whole entire tenure as a Bear for, I believe, 3 to 4 years that he was on the Bears. So
Exactly. It's impressive.
it's a huge stat, for being that. And then I believe there was another stat about him being Caleb as a rookie throwing 300. I don't think any he's like broke a record for the Bears with like
Hmm.
rookie passing or something like that, just like with like 300 passing yards games because
Yeah,
I don't think a
through
quarterback. Yeah,
yeah through 6 games, he's already has the most passing yards by any Bears QB.
yeah,
He leads the list, and he's cracked officially. He's cracked the top 50 of all-time Bears QBs on the passing yards
mm-hmm.
list. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, it's going to take a few more weeks for him to break all
Yeah.
records, but we can officially call him elite. I think is kind of the idea. He's officially becoming an elite player.
I agree, man. And obviously, we're talking about the other quarterbacks in the league and stuff. He's becoming, a great quarterback. You can tell that he's becoming more comfortable in the pocket. He trusts his teammates more. Obviously, we saw the connection to him and DJ Moore twice in the game for a touchdown. DJ Moore had a great game. He looked super happy on the sideline. I know like 3 weeks ago or whatever in that game against the Texans or whatever, you saw DJ Moore on the sideline. It looked like he wasn't too happy on the sideline just with
Mm-hmm.
kind of how the play calling was going and stuff like that. But I do think that the connection between DJ Moore and Caleb is starting to improve dramatically. Keenan Allen is finally getting involved more. Obviously, he's getting receptions. Cole Kmet's getting involved. We'll go over obviously all the players' stats in about a few minutes, but Caleb has been doing wonderful. Let's get right into it with the stats. So basically, Caleb did 20 for 29. He only missed 9 throws. 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 5 rushes as well, 34 yards, and 2 of those rushes ended up in first down, which
Mm-hmm.
obviously
Huge plays.
if he didn't see what he wanted to see there, you know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
ended up running it for that first down. And the thing that I'm loving about Caleb is he knows how to slide. That's what I love about him. He's not going to be taking these hits like Josh Allen is. Josh Allen is a very sturdy quarterback, and he has been very grateful that he hasn't been super hurt yet. But Caleb is realizing, I'm this franchise quarterback. I need to, slide when I need to slide.
Oh
So,
yeah,
Dan, you want to get into the other players with this game?
of course, of course. So the whole process starts with Caleb. So we need Caleb here and healthy to make sure
man,
that this week continues process. Rushing game went back up on form. So we gave DeAndre Swift 21 touches, 21 attempts, technically 23 touches. So he had 21 attempts for just 73 yards, but he still ran the ball like hell. He was a really good runner that game. He had 1 touchdown, and then he had 2 receptions for 47 yards. One of those catches went for over 30 yards, and it stopped at the 1-yard line. So he technically could have had two touchdowns on the day. And then next up, we had Roschon Johnson came back, and he's increasing his workload. He's increasing his role, just like Ryan Poles said. It's confusing to see where Herbert is, but Roschon ultimately had a great game. 10 attempts for 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. It seems like he's not the bell cow, but he's definitely taking the goal line work. He's someone that's powerful, so it's exciting to see him get those touches. And he's on 4 touchdowns in the year right now, so he's definitely leading the Bears when it comes to touchdown rushes. So I would, for all those people looking to make easy bets, I think Roschon Johnson touchdown each game is pretty solid, I'd say.
Or to snag a player to ride your bench in fantasy football like I did. Yep, that's
Or like
exactly
I saw
what I
you
did.
did this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, there's one player on my team who was just sitting on my bench, and I don't know if he was going to end up performing, so I just swapped him out for Roschon. You never know. So Roschon's getting some touchdowns. But so Roschon has been doing awesome for the Bears. Like you said, he's been getting the goal line work, the work that, DeAndre Swift's just a little bit smaller, and Roschon just he's kind of doing what David Montgomery did, refusing to go down. He just wants to break through these tackles, get the extra yardage, and especially, when it's goal line work, you need that extra yard in order to get that touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
So Roschon has been doing very well with it. He had 2 touchdowns on the day, which was awesome. And kind of getting into some of the other players. Cole Kmet went 3 for 4 for 57 yards. That's awesome for Cole Kmet. Finally getting him involved. I know earlier in the season he wasn't getting that many receptions, and we were like, what are we doing? Gerald Everett is out there more than Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is finally getting involved. That's what we needed. Spread like I tell people, spread the love.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Danny, obviously you got to see him, live in person, watch his
Oh
magical
yeah,
game.
popped
DJ
off.
Moore, what did he do, man?
Man, he popped off. He was the main target in the game. So he only did catch 5 catches on 8 targets, but they were for 105 yards. His first game this season with over 100 yards, and then 2 beautiful touchdown catches. Both touchdown catches came, from 25 yards out. So they were incredible catches on his part. He was lit up. He was very excited to catch these against his former team because he was getting berated on Twitter. All these players saying, oh my gosh, like the defense is gonna lock him up. Like, he had the game of the century, and I think it did a lot for Caleb's confidence.
Yeah,
and then Keenan Allen,
yeah. Just
some
kind
of
of
these
talking
other
about
pass
DJ Moore
catchers.
just super quick.
Yeah.
This is the game that you needed, kind of the revenge game against the Panthers. And he had 2 touchdowns at 105 yards on 5 catches, which is crazy. It's kind of like that. I forgot which team it was this week. There was a player that had, it was the game literally yesterday in the 49ers. Debo had like 2 catches for 87 yards already.
Mhm.
So DJ Moore is that player that can get those explosive plays. That's kind of what we're going to be asking of Rome Odunze, kind of going down the line maybe in the next few weeks, getting the deep ball threat. But DJ Moore is just more speedier than Rome, and DJ Moore has been doing very well. He's fine, like we kind of talked about earlier. He's getting that connection with Caleb. It's what we've been asking of DJ Moore, and he's well deserved of that contract, in my opinion. The highest contract in franchise history. But obviously I cut you off, but Keenan Allen finally getting involved. Last week was the week he came back after his heel injury. Now he's getting more involved with the offense. And Dan, what did he get? He did 3 for 6 for 33 yards, right?
Yeah, it's gonna take some more time for Keenan Allen here, but I think 3 catches for 6 yards or for 6 attempts isn't beautiful, but for 33 yards, I think it's well enough. He got a first down on one of the first drives of the game, so he's definitely helping out with that veteran leadership. So I'm really happy about that. And then on the other side, the rookie also got 6 targets, but his turned from instead of 3 catches to 5 catches. So he got 5 catches for 4 yards. I think Rome had a couple beautiful catches there as well. I think that connection is just as strong with Rome as it is with DJ Moore when it comes to Caleb. So that's very exciting to watch. And I think, again, he's throwing the ball out. He's targeting a bunch of different receivers, and even some of the older guys, Gerald Everett, like they're all getting their attempts too, and they're becoming relevant again. So it's really exciting to see. But going up to the defense played just as well. So if we're going to give offense props,
defensive game, man.
Yeah, we're going to have to give the defense some props because the defense really showed up. I think Kevin Byard had his best game of the year by far, not only because he had an interception, but he led the team in tackles. He also almost led the team in pressures as well. He was on every side of the ball, so he looked incredible. And then this stat I love the most. So Andrew Billings, Booker, and Dexter all got sacks. We love those players. We love seeing those players get sacks because those are some young guys, those are some vets, and then those are also some players that are here built for the future. So I love Dexter getting his 4th sack in the year. That's incredibly impressive. So he's definitely a star to watch out for. He's one of the underrated ones.
Every week he's improving, man. That's all we can ask of him. And Javon Dexter is definitely filling in those shoes, helping to get sacks, relieving some stress off of Montez Sweat. Obviously, there was the rumor in the offseason, are we going to get another edge rusher to help out? We ended up getting Austin Booker in the draft, and Austin Booker got another sack, which is awesome. And we're asking of, Javon Dexter. Obviously these new pieces of the team as well to, step into the shoes that, for players that once left, talking about the lean tackler, Kevin Byard from the Eagles. That was a huge pickup. That was like, I think that was literally the first free agent signing once free agency opened.
So.
Yeah, I remember. So. I was at the car wash and I saw a notification, Kevin Byard of the Bears. I'm like, whoa, this is the first one. It was like just opened up at 1 o'clock or whatever. But yeah,
Poles was cooking.
Yeah. Poles was cooking, and he's cooking on great defensive players, man. Awesome, great offensive players. Rome, DJ Moore. He's doing well to build this team. And like we talked about earlier, Shane Waldron is finally figuring out this offense. Took a little bit, took a few weeks. Obviously, people in Chicago are like, "Whoa, what is going on here?" It didn't happen week 1, it didn't happen week 2. I think Caleb in this offense is finally, there was that rumor a few weeks ago where Shane Waldron had all of the offensive players meet with him and like talk him through that. That's what we need for these coordinators, man, is that, especially defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, get a connection with these players, figure out what they want to run. not what the coach wants to run. That's kind of what I felt happened last year with the offensive coordinator, with Luke Getsy. He just wanted to call what he wanted to call, and that's pretty much it. But now Shane Waldron is open to the players,
Yeah, that players only meeting we had actually, I think, did some good things, right? Usually we look at that as a bad thing, but I think that did some good things, especially if this game was the outcome.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of better offensive plays, but obviously, we're talking about the defense. This defense has been stellar this offseason. Gervon Dexter already has 4 sacks on the season, which is awesome. If you asked anybody in the preseason how many sacks Gervon Dexter might have had, people would have probably said 2 or 3 for the whole entire season. He's already at 4, which is awesome. Awesome for the Bears. So special teams. This is one of your favorite. This is one of my favorites. For the Bears, it's been kind of a strong suit for the last 5 years. But let's talk about it. Torrey Taylor, 4 punts. Only 4 punts. Remember the first few weeks we were talking about? He had 6 punts, 7 punts, 5 punts. Only 4 punts in the game. That's we're keeping him off the field, which is awesome. But when he's on the field, he's performing well. 44.5 yard average punts. But yeah, you got to see him in person. How did it look?
Yeah, when he had when you give a punter less punts, he gets better averages. So that's the thing that I'm really excited about. So 4 punts is great for him, right? Because he had a 44-yard average for most of his punts, and every single one of his punts went to an area that made Carolina uncomfortable, which was good to see because that's they only put up 10 points. Not saying that Carolina is a great offensive weapon, but they definitely could have scored more on this team. I think they've put up 20 points against the Bengals. They had another win against I forgot what win they had this season, but so they're not a horrible offense. Andy Dalton's led multiple good offenses, but it's just I was really impressed with seeing him. He punted that thing. Honestly, it was cool to see.
He's been great for the Bears this whole entire season. In his rookie year, come into the Bears, and that's why, like we talked about, that's why you spent a 4th round pick on him. Pin him inside the 20. 45 in a yard punt averages. I think last week he had a 65 yarder or something like that. So he's going to be great for the Bears, and glad we picked him up. But yeah, so kind of wrapping this up, man. Let's kind of just quickly go into the positives for the Bears this game. This is great because, the weeks prior, week 1, week 2, I felt like the negatives list were much bigger than the positive list. But now we're kind of getting into, I think the positive list is becoming, a bigger list than compared to the negatives. So let's get right into it. How about the positives, man? Well, give me one positive for you.
Positive, I think, is the energy from the offensive line. I think the offensive line is finally playing to a position where people aren't making fun of them. People are understanding that there are some players on that offensive line that could be up for greatness this season. So I would say the offensive line was a huge positive, and we're not looking at bottom 5 anymore. We're looking at top 10, baby. I think this offensive line is looking top 10.
Positive for me, man, is Caleb. Obviously, I just think we've seen it, every week. He is constantly improving. He got 2 passing touchdowns this week, which is awesome. No interceptions again. Taking less sacks. He's reading the defense much better, and him and Shane Waldron are finally clicking better. I just think this is positive is Caleb. He's becoming a great quarterback for the Bears, and we're just constantly asking him to improve every week, which he's been accepting that task, which is awesome. And man, let's just finish off. Let's do one more positive for thing. What's another positive you got, man?
I think positive is obviously got to be the run game in relative to the O-line. I think the run game having flourished at this exact time of the season is great for us because Caleb's getting more comfortable. And like I said last week, so DeAndre Swift didn't get 5 catches. He only got 2 catches this game. And that was something that I was a bit worried about, that he was just going to try to dump it off to DeAndre Swift as much as possible. But no, Caleb looked downfield. Caleb made a ton of completions. So that was my excitement. Run game's flourishing, so that means Caleb is going to have an easier job.
My last positive, man, and obviously we've talked about it since week 1, the defense is just stellar. Our defense is performing. But now we'll talk about it with the Jaguars, but our defense is going to be up against a little bit of a challenge. We have some players out/doubtful for that game, but it'll kind of be a test, the next man up. I know, obviously, Andrew Blackwell is going to be stepping in the shoes for Tyreek Stevenson once we talk about that with the London game. But there's a few players that are on the injury report that are not expected to play. that mainly on the defensive end. So we'll get into that. But I think this defense has been stellar. We're getting interceptions now. Week 1, week 2, we're this close to interceptions, man. They were just like, remember like the challenge call where Eberflus thought it was a catch
Exactly.
or whatever, and we're finally getting these interceptions. We're getting these forced fumbles, these sacks as well. So this defense is becoming very, very well. So I think that's another positive for the Bears. Now, if there's anything,
what about the negatives?
I don't know, man.
These are the negatives.
This is hard because negatives for the Bears. I just maybe if I could say, but my negative of the last week was spread the love, but we're spreading the love more with Caleb and the receivers. We're seeing Keenan Allen involved. Rome Odunze, had 45 yards or whatever. DJ Moore's getting involved. Right now, it's hard for me to pinpoint a negative. I don't know if you have one off the top of your head, but what do you think, man?
Yes, I think the rush defense is a big key that needs to kind of improve a little bit. I think giving up a 30-yard rush giving up 30-yard touchdowns in the last 2 weeks has been kind of difficult, but
sure.
I think that's definitely something we could focus on just because I know the Jags are going to come in and their first thought is going to be, hey, let's dominate the ball, the run game, so then these wide receivers can have an easier time getting open because they know the way the Bears secondary looks, right? They're ball hogs. They're going to go for the ball each time, so they're going to try to run it with Tank or ETN. They're really going to try to push that. So I think that's definitely one of the negatives. I'd like to see some better rush defense and just eliminate those big rush plays because that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Like these big plays, obviously a bunch of teams, give up big plays. Did you mute your mic when you did that?
Yeah, excuse me.
That was funny.
Clutch.
Yeah, so like you said, man, most teams always give up big plays, but it's good that the Bears defense, bounces back, after a big play like that. I saw that, I looked at my phone and said the Bears were already down 7-0. I'm like, no, this is not going to be one of those games. We're going to lose to Carolina, but defense did end up proving, after that big play, and that's a good point you made, man. So I think that's kind of the only negative right now. This offense is improving. So. Special teams is great. The defense is stellar. I just think that, the big plays are just the things that can make or break a game, especially at the end of the game if it's a final drive. Can you imagine if the Rams game, if, Matthew Stafford ended up giving a big play to maybe Tutu Atwell or something like that, we would not be talking about a Bears win. We'd talk about a Bears win.
Exactly.
So I know obviously in the past, we don't need to talk about the teams that kind of did it to us, but they did, give up big plays at the end of the games. But so I just think that this team is improving, which I'm more than happy as a Bears fan that seeing that this team is improving. So
exactly. There's no reason to focus on the negatives. When the positives are looking so good, let's just focus on these positives.
Yeah, man.
Some more football games.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of winning football games, we got a new one approaching this week.
I'm beyond pumped. Beyond pumped. Let's get right into it. So obviously, week 6
in London as we speak.
I'm so bad at accents. I'm even going to try. Like, my girlfriend thinks I'm really bad at accents too. Yeah. But anyway, so we got an awesome game on Sunday. I actually was going to potentially go to this game. I thought it'd be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I think I talked about this last week. Maybe next time, just because I did end up hurting my ankle and stuff like that. But week 6, this is going to be super cool for the Bears. Bears and Jacksonville in London at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is one of the biggest stadiums in London. It's going to be an 8:30 game, which I will be up for. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be very excited watching this game. The Bears are 3-2 right now. Jacksonville, on the other hand, finally just got their first win last week. 1-3.
I think they're 1-4 actually. That's my correction.
Oh yeah, 1-4. Yeah,
they've also played 5 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're a 1-4 team that hasn't looked that good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't looked good whatsoever. But, last week they didn't improve and they ended up getting their first win. So let's not count them out. But this is going to be a fun game for the Bears. I know I was talking to a few people about this. Bears, Bears in London. One thing I know about Bears fans is they know how to root on their team anywhere they are, in London, in opposing stadiums. Remember week 2 against the Texans, how it felt like there was I remember one of the reporters said it was like 40% Bears fans, it sounded like. So I think that's how it's going to be in London, man. I think I could see it be like 60-40 Bears fans, but I'm not how it's going to be. I don't know how Jacksonville fans travel, but I think this is going to feel like a Bears home game with how it's going to be. But yeah, let's get into some of the trending things that are going on right now leading up to this game. First off, we'll get into the injuries in a little bit, but there's a little situation going on with Jacksonville. Obviously, in the Southeast, a huge hurricane just hit Hurricane Milton, but Jacksonville decided to, hold off and potentially travel a little bit later to London, and that might bite them in the, that it's just kind of Dan, you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, it's not a fantastic idea on their part, but also we can't blame them. I'm sure they had at the end of the day, I think what was more important was particularly all their families that were living in the Florida area.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone was safe and situated before everyone took flights to the game. Because at the end of the day, I think this is one of the type of games where if the team couldn't make it, they would have definitely postponed it. And it's not mandatory that's in London kind of idea. So what happened is that the Bears usually schedule any sort of long trips like this also 2 days before. This is one of the first times that the Bears went a week prior. So literally Sunday they won, Monday they flew out to London, and so they had a full week to get ready for it. And that put a little bit of an advantage for us just because the Jags, their plane got delayed for probably a day or two, and so they didn't end up getting to London until today at 4 a.m. So they hardly have. They have 28 hours to get situated and everything, but to put a practice in, to put some good rest in, to get yourself a good meal, all while feeling jet lagged, I think that's a bit difficult for them. They are the team that plays most frequently in London, so I think they have a bit of an edge when it comes to that. But I think that's a pretty big idea and upgrade for the Bears here is that we're going to be playing with a full healthy offense that's going to be not fully healthy, but they're going to be ready and they've had a full week of practice and they've got their showcasing in where they got to go see everything in London and have all their own fun. But it's going to be a really exciting game, so I'm pretty pumped to watch this. It's last time we had a London game, it was a loss, so I'm excited to see if we can get a win. And it's technically a home game. So I don't know if you're watching the videos that they're painting the stadium Bears colors and they're putting the Bears field on there. So that is actually really awesome to see. So I'm excited to get some screenshots on TV and start posting them because that's going to be a cool game.
It's going to be a fun game for the Bears. I'm really excited. 8:30 in the morning, we get to watch the Bears, and then we get to watch the whole rest of the football during the day. It's going to be an awesome game. I sent you a video this morning. The Bears social media is doing some fun things. They're doing the tea challenge with trying to pour a glass of tea while not looking. And there's just other things they're doing right now in London. This is team bonding activities. And, it's great that they flew out early and they got settled in, let the jet lag kind of get by them. And, they've been practicing. I've seen pictures of their practice stadium. It's really, really cool. And it's going to be fun for the Bears. I'm really excited for Sunday. And I can't wait for it. But kind of diving into it, let's kind of look at what the game kind of is projected to be, especially with injuries out there. So I pulled up the injury report right here. There's a few injuries we got going. Jaquan Brisker ended up getting a concussion in the game against the Panthers. He had a tackle on one of the players, and it actually knocked the Panthers guy unconscious, which it was a crazy hit, and ended up giving Jaquan Brisker a concussion. So he's going to be out for this game. A few other players that are going to be out. Zach Pickens is out with a groin injury. He's been out for a few weeks now. A few other players we kind of get into. Tyreek Stevenson, this is a big one, cornerback for the Bears. He's been improving over the weeks. He started off a little shaky this season. He's been improving. He ended up having a calf injury in practice this week. He is doubtful to play, so expect Blackwell to perform or take over in his spot, or I forgot the other name that was flowing around, but but there's other names as well. Tevin Jenkins is questionable on the Bears offensive line, and that's pretty much the big names out there, man. And then the defense, not the defense, I'm sorry, but the Jacksonville, few big names that are kind of flowing around there. Are they going to play or not? Evan Ingram, the tight end, big threat on the tight ends. Travis Etienne, running back. I know they've been splitting the backfield between him and Tank Bigsby, but there's a few other players as well. But the big names are like Travis Etienne and Evan Ingram for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, what do you kind of think of the injuries, man? What do you think about it?
It's obviously tough for the Bears defense because we relied so heavily on the secondary on being healthy, but I think Jalen's still there, right? We still have the linebackers. Everyone's still in good spirits. Everyone's had a week to practice, so I think we're pretty much set. I don't think there's any other defenses that have played Jacksonville that have looked any better than our defense does right now. So I would say that our team is still going to be, playing a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, only a few injuries on the defense. Jaquan Brisker with that concussion, and then Tyreek Stevenson as well. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for the Bears defense, but I do expect them to improve or stay stellar as always. This defense knows how to work together. So those are kind of the injuries going into the London game. But yeah, real quick before we get into one of my favorite segments of the podcast, which is Bear Down, Bear Frown. What are some adjustments that you like to see from the Panthers game to this game in London? Obviously, we had a stellar game against the Panthers. It's hard to say there like any big adjustments, but if you can name one, maybe two minor adjustments, what's one you can think of, man?
I think similar to what you said last week. I think spread the love. I think spreading the love would be a big adjustment. Instead of having one dominant receiver, let's have two. Let's have two receivers have two dominant games separately. Both maybe hitting 100 yards, both scoring a touchdown. That's something I'd like to see this week.
Yeah. You took mine right. I think spreading the ball around is going to make this team perform even better instead of targeting one of the receivers as well. Adjustment for the Bears is obviously going to be on the defensive end with these injuries, but like I just said, I do think they're going to perform very well like they always do, and I expect this offense to perform well, Caleb to improve as well, and then every week Caleb's improving, and then this defense continue to stay stellar. So yeah. All right, man. Let's get into your favorite section, my favorite section, Bear Down or Bear Frown. So you want to start off, man, with the first thing we got kind of going? Yeah.
Sure. So last week we went 50% yet again. So the last 3 weeks we've gone 50-50 on it. The ones that hit last week were Bears score over 30 points. It's awesome. That was the first time all season we've hit 30 points. I think it's the third time in the last 2 seasons that we've done it as well. And the O-line allowed less than 3 sacks. Can you guess how many sacks we allowed?
See, I didn't look at the box score. I don't know. Did we allow? He didn't get sacked at all.
He got sacked once.
Oh, I was gonna say
he got sacked once. Incredible, though. I mean, how? And Carolina doesn't have the best rush defense, right? So, but I think giving up one sack is incredible for the self-esteem, right, for this team. So, I think Caleb feels more comfortable. Caleb again evaded the pocket most times to get first down, so that's a lot on his part. But super excited about that. So those two did hit. Those are really good ones. Those are ones that you want to see during week 5, right? Not week 1 or not week 12. So that's something that we want to see nowadays, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked for the way this week's going to go because I think it might look even better. You never know. 0 sacks.
Let's get it with 0, man. So kind of getting into the ones we got into this week. Bears Jackson in London. Let's go into the first one. Now, obviously, we saw Caleb get his first 2 passing touchdown game against Carolina on Sunday. Bear down or bear frown, do you think Caleb is going to throw 2 passing touchdowns this game like he did last week? What do you think, man?
I do. I'm all bear down for that. I do indeed. I think 3 isn't out of the question. I think seeing the way he slung the ball last week, I think it gets even better. I think he's in London. He's feeling himself. He's on a global stage. So I think 2 touchdowns is not out of the question for sure.
I'm going bear down as well, man. He's constantly improving, which we've been seeing from him. I like Caleb in London against Jacksonville. I think he wants to expose this defense and expose this team. Obviously these ESPN reporters, week 1, week 2 are like, oh, did the Bears make the wrong choice? But we're seeing him improve. I see him get 2+ touchdowns. I even see him getting 3+ touchdowns. But to play it safe, I'll say 2+. I'm going to go bear down on this one, man. Want to go with the next one, man?
I don't see him written down here, but let me know which ones you got here.
Oh, no, you're good, man. So next one I'm going is that, DeAndre Swift has been performing well in the last few weeks, rushing, receiving defense. Bear down or bear frown, do you think DeAndre Swift is going to have more than 60+ rushing yards?
I'm going bear down on that. I think that's a good one, especially also him being in London. They're going to feed him the rock. So, yeah, 60. I could see somewhere between 15 attempts for 60 to 100 yards. Totally.
I'm going bear down as well, man. I think DeAndre Swift, every week we're seeing constant improvement and more rushing attempts. Or I'm sorry, not rushing attempts. Yeah, rushing attempts, I meant. But he constantly improving. constantly, maneuvering past that defense as well. I got him going probably about 70, 80 yards on rushing. And then I actually also got him gain a touchdown as well, like he's been improved like in the last few weeks. So yeah. All right, I got two more for you, man. So bear down or bear frown. Do you think DJ Moore gets a touchdown on Sunday?
I think, to make it interesting, I'm going to say bear frown here. I'm going to say bear frown. I think after his last game, I think Jacksonville's going to guard him heavily, and they're going to want to see the other receivers provide. So, unfortunately, I'm going to go bear frown on this. I do think what's going to happen is Keenan or Rome has the better game this weekend.
Sure. I'm going bear down, man. I think he's not going to get the first touchdown of the game. I think maybe Rome or Keenan, like you said, Rome or Keenan's going to end up getting another touchdown. But I do see DJ Moore getting another touchdown. I think he's going to have a wide open break somehow, maybe on the sideline. And I'm getting like another, like last week, another 30-yard touchdown like he did against Carolina. So,
yeah, I can see
last one. Yeah, this is. Yeah. Last one, man, with the Bears defense. This is obviously you're talking about how great they are this year. Bear down or bear frown. Do you think they get 3 and more sacks on Trevor Lawrence this Sunday?
I think Bears totally get 3 or more sacks. I'm bearing down on this. I've seen the way that Trevor Lawrence has been playing these recent weeks. He's lost. He's directionless. He's running into his own lineman. He is easy to catch, and I think this Bears defense is going to be, going heavy onto that idea. It's just like get him on the ground. Mm-hmm. I think we get 3 more sacks easily here.
I'm going bear down. I'm going 4 for 4 on bear downs this week, man, because I just think this defense is awesome. I think he's gonna get to Trevor Lawrence. He has no idea. Trevor isn't great in the pocket, so like recently, especially this year, like pocket awareness. So I do think the Bears are gonna get 3+ sacks on him. I can see him get right around 3, maybe 4. I got 3 or 4 sacks for the Bears defense this week. So
excellent. Yeah, excellent. Those are really good picks there. I'm really excited to watch who see those.
I hope they were good picks, or else we're gonna have a problem. Just
all right, guys. Well, that concludes Bear Down, Bear Frown. That's become a very favorite segment of mine. If you guys ever have any more questions, I know who's watching this at the moment, and please go ahead and ask us any more so we can answer those for you as well, because those are always a lot of fun. But now here comes the other favorite part. We're going to kind of look through the stats that Caleb Williams has progressed through so far this season. And we talked about this week 1, right? After the first week, we gave ourselves ideas of what kind of stats that he should look for. I'll tell you right now, he's overqualified for every single statistic here. He's done better than what I get. So it looks incredible. He looked incredible. So we'll go over the stats here. 107 completions for 170 attempts. 62.9% completion percentage. That completion percentage has also gone up every single game. So every single statistic here is getting up game by game. He right now has 1,091 yards, which is the most in a 5-game span for the Chicago Bears quarterback. So that is a historic, trademark that he's got to be having for, I'm sure, the next many seasons. 5 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. No interceptions in the last 2 games, I believe, right? Or last 2 or 3. Yeah. Maybe I think it's the last 2, yeah. And then an average of 81.3 passer rating, which is also climbing each and every game. And that still looks bad from his first 2 games, but I promise you that's going to look closer to 100 in the last ends of the week. Yeah, I agree.
This is why I use the number 1 pick on a quarterback, man. And, you trade away the other quarterback that we had in Justin Fields. Caleb is constantly improving this year. He's not going on a downtrend. He's going on an uptrend. So I do think Caleb is, looking great through 5 weeks. Week 6 in London, week 6 in London against, I just think we're going to look great. Week 6 or week 5?
Week 6 in London, yeah.
Week 6. I was like, is it 5 or 6? But yeah, I do think Caleb is performing very well. It's all we're asking of him is to constantly improve. Like I keep saying, I sound like a broken record, but that's all we're asking for all these players as well. So, like we talked about earlier, Caleb already has more 300 passing yard games than Justin Fields. Obviously Caleb is the first rookie quarterback in the NFL to have a winning record in the first 5 games, which is awesome.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And then Caleb also got 3 home wins to start the season. Great.
That's rare. We've never seen that before. That's not even from the Bears. Like we haven't seen that anywhere. That's really impressive stuff. So, and that just shows that I think he enjoys playing at Soldier Field. That's a really important part, because if we can win all those games at home, that really gives us a wild card spot every single season. So that's an impressive stat for us. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Loving Caleb through 5 weeks, man. Week 6 in
Totally.
London is going to be awesome to watch. And it's a great time to be a Bears fan, man. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Now, lastly, just to wrap up the show, we're going to talk about, just the next weeks, upcoming for the Bears, what their schedule kind of looks like. So, obviously we talked about it today. Bears in London on Sunday, 8:30 in the morning. Make sure you're up, have your breakfast, have your coffee or your Eggo waffles or whatever you eat. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, super excited. 8:30. I think it's on NFL Network. I think if you're local to Chicago, it's going to be on Fox. But Bears in London, obviously the Jags offense finally got their first win. So let's look for a Bears win on Sunday, man. And the next 2 games, what are we looking forward to, man?
The next 2 games, we got the Commanders game, which I'm probably looking forward to the most this entire season. We're the number 1 pick versus the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. That is in Washington, and that's, I think, going to be a very impressive game. I've watched countless highlight tapes of ways the defenses are trying to prepare for Jaden Daniels, and I'm really excited to see the way the Bears defense prepares for them. Because I think at the end of the day, you keep thinking about the idea other defenses are facing us, a rookie QB. This is our final opportunity to face a rookie QB, and things might look a little bit different. So that game I'm really excited for. And then the third game in the next 3-game slate is versus the Cardinals in Arizona. So that should be a very interesting game, because that's going to be our first late afternoon game. It's going to be our first game that starts at 3:05 our time central here. So that's going to be an interesting game, because we haven't seen many midday games for the Bears yet. And those, statistically, from what I remember, haven't been our favorite games to watch, because those have usually been pretty bad games defensively or offensively. So I'm really excited to see that. I think it's going to be a good game for Caleb, playing. I forgot it. I think they have a dome over there in Arizona, so I think it's going to be a good game for him. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Next 3 games are important for the Bears, man. Obviously, in London, we just discussed that. Commanders, number 1, number 2 pick in the draft. That's going to be a must-watch game, because obviously, everyone's comparing Jaden to Caleb this year. Who made the better pick or whatever. They're both great quarterbacks. I think both teams made the right pick. And, obviously, Cardinals, looking forward to. The Cardinals are a good team. That's the next 3 games are very crucial for the Bears, man.
Oh, yeah. It'll be exciting to watch. And I will say, I think I don't know what the percentage is, but the Bears could win these next 3 games. We could come home, and we could be 6-3 or 6-2, which would be awesome. Right? That'd be a pretty good, impressive start. And I think, again, it all depends on how this game goes with the Commanders. I think it's a good level. Showing that what progression is for both these teams having rookie quarterbacks. So let's get it. Let's get down to it,
man. Yeah, this team is. If this team constantly improves, man, we're looking at next 3 games to be wins.
Oh yeah,
and I'm very excited. Obviously, isn't this crazy, man? How week 2 we sat here very depressed, going like, what did this team do? Obviously the defense only did something. And the offense just did nothing at all. And now, look at us, man. We're really happy, talking about our team now. And that's what we're wanting with this team is, we want to boast about our team. We don't want to be like, oh, this team is terrible. This team's bad.
They are electric. They're providing what we want to watch. This is football I want to watch every Sunday. So it's nice. Yeah. It's nice. Finally, we waited all the time.
It's going to be a fun game on Sunday, man. So
to
wrap up, like we said, guys, we appreciate all the, the watch and the listens. You guys can always, comment and say anything that's on your mind. Talk, if you want to, argue with us about some, hot takes, anything we have, we'd love to, comment and talk to you about that. But Sunday in London is going to be an awesome game. We're going to be coming back next week, recapping the game in London against the, obviously the Jags. And then we'll be previewing that next crucial game against the Commanders in Washington. So, Danny,
I do just want to add, final thought, I think we got a couple things incorrect for the next 3. Bears actually have a bye week 7.
That's
so
what
after
I thought.
London,
we have mid-bye week.
Yes, so. that's my correction there. I totally forgot about that. Bye week and then Washington. So we'll still try our best to come up with a video next week. I believe there should be something, some sort of content we can come up with. We'll do our best to see what we can get, because Bears bye week is also going to help us out a little bit. We can talk goals too. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. Like I said, please feel free. Never feel scared to share comments or share your thoughts or or anything, even if it's against the Bears. Like we're open to listening to what your thoughts are on any part of the team. So we thank you for viewing. Appreciate that for listening.
Yeah, appreciate it a lot, guys. All right, we'll be back next week. Talking about the Bears Jags game. Super excited about that. And as always, enjoy your weekend. And look forward to 8:30 on Sunday. And as always, bear down.
Go Bears.
Thanks, everybody.